Now, let's talk about integrating an activation. First, you're with a customer. You're gonna go on the supplier's website and start filling the details about this customer, and if it's an activation, renewal. When you're at the contract, let me give you an example. This is an example of a contract. You will need to right click on it, select integration to Complus, click OK, return in Complus, click on the magic wand to start the process of the integration. The system will ask you to confirm that this is the customer. Let's click on OK. Select the network. Sometimes Complus will ask you to confirm the features that the customer took. Click on OK. Select the type of customer. Select the salesperson, yourself, or the one that did the transaction. When you're done, click on OK. The system will ask you if it's a new order, if you want to add this activation to an already existing order, or select another customer, or linked to an existing invoice. Click on New Order. This is where you're going to find all the items that the customer took on the supplier's website. There, it's possible to add new product into the transaction by scanning the product code if you have a scanner, or by clicking on this button. You can do a search by product by entering some words and click on display. Everything related to that word will appear on the list below. It's possible to apply filter by category of product, by manufacturer or supplier. Let's apply a filter by screen protectors. Let's maximize this window. You will get some details about those products, the product code, the UPC code, that is the scan code, the name of the product, and you see the number you currently have in inventory in your current location, with the price, the category, and other details. It is possible to see if you have some quantities available in other locations. When you're done, by selecting the product, click on OK. You can apply a discount by right-clicking on the line and selecting discount. You can do it by taxes, by a percentage, or an amount of money. It's possible to remove a discount by right-clicking on the line and selecting Remove Discount. On the labor type, this is where you're gonna find some labor. It's possible to add new labor, for example, migration, installation. You need to click on the button, plus, select the labor. You can choose if the rate applied by an hourly rate or a fixed rate. You need to enter the time and click on OK. On the activation tab, you will have a copy of the activation you just did. If you double click on the line, you will see some details. In the deposit tab, it is possible to take a deposit from your customer by clicking on plus, selecting the cells under payment method, selecting the type of transaction of deposit, in this case it's customer advance, enter the amount of money, and click on OK. In the customer info tab, you can add some notes about the transaction. Sometimes there will be an already existing follow-up that will be there. It's possible to add a new follow-up or remove them. You can attach some document that could be PDF, images, or things like that. You can remove them, scan them if you have a scanner plug into your computer, or even assign a signature by selecting a document. When you're done, you can invoice it to complete the transaction or save it for later. For example, if your customer wants to come by another day and give you the full payment for the transaction. So let's save it for later and close the window. A customer is returning into your store. The last time you were with him, you took a deposit and create an order. So return in the order section by clicking on it in the transactions menu. Select the order, click on modify. When you're done, click on the icon invoice the order. Select it was received by whom. Select the payment method and click on complete. Click on OK. You can print the invoice, send it by email, or have a preview. And the transaction is done. So you give the items to your customer and took the full payment for the transaction. Now close the window. Okay. Now let me talk to you about a remorse. Sometimes a customer will go back in store and ask for a complete refund. To be able to do that, please click on the invoice section, enter the invoice number, or do a search by applying some filters like customer, rep, the salesperson, and click on display. Select the invoice, click on credit. The system will ask you either selecting some of the products you want to credit or select all by clicking on this button right there. When you're done, click on the credit button. The system will ask you to choose between three options. You will select the first option, partial credit, to credit or refund a product or line on the original invoice. You will choose this option if you want to credit a specific item like an accessory. You will select the second option, redo the invoice without deleting the activation, when you want to redo the bill, but only the activations renewals are valid, or to correct invoicing error. You will select the third option, credit invoice and delete activation renewal file. It will be when you want to do a complete remorse of the buyer or cancel the entire transaction, including deleting the file and crediting the original invoice. Select the third option, credit invoice and delete activation renewal file. The system will ask to confirm the item that will be credited. Let's click on delete. And now you can see this is an actually order file, and you have quantities that are negative because you're going to take back those items in your stock and you're going to refund the money to your customer. To process, click on this icon to invoice the order. Select it was received by whom. Select the payment method and click on complete. Select OK. You can print, send it by email, or have a preview of the invoice. You need to enter a reason and click on OK. And you just applied a remorse about this transaction. So you took back the items that you sold your customer and you give back the money to your customer. When you're done, just close the windows. In Complus, you have three ways of doing transaction. When doing quotation, it won't reserve your inventory, as it won't be possible to take a deposit from your customer. Every transaction in the system will start by an order. When doing an order, this will reserve the inventory that the customer took, and it will be possible to take a deposit. All the orders are transactions that are pending to be an invoice, meaning that you need to receive full payment for the transaction. When an order is complete and the transaction is done by giving the items to a customer and taking their money, this will be transferred into an invoice. It is not possible to change an invoice. You can do a full credit by doing what we call a remorse, or you can do a partial credit to refund some of the items like accessories on the original invoices. And usually, when an invoice is done, it means that you gave the items to your customer and you took the full payment for the transaction. It's possible to access all your customers' list in the software by clicking on the customer menu. When you're going to do a search, entering some letter of your customer, everything related to that specific letters will just appear below. It's possible to apply a filter by phone, by band, by address with the zip code. You can enter in modification to get some details about that customer you've just selected or create a new customer. Let's click on Modify. On the first tab, the Details tab, you will find every details about your customer. This is mainly about the location, the representative from your business, an email address, and the customer type. On the second option, this is where, and it is really important to know, that you will provide if it's a native company or a native customer. So you could always say that it's for federal only and enter tax exemption right there. It's possible to add several addresses. The accounting part will be covered on the third training. You can add several contacts for the same customer, same corporate customer. In the Cellular tab, this is where you're going to find all the transactions that were done with that customer. You can see those little blue dots. Every run the system, it means that there's some details assigned. So if we're going to feature, this is all the features that this customer took. This is all the renewals that we did with that customer, the repairs, and so on. In the Order tab, this is where you're going to find all the order. Same for the invoices. You're going to find all the invoices. About payment, this will be covered in the third training. It is also possible to build some kind of a hierarchy with that customer if there's some sub businesses for the business. You can enter some notes. You can see all the quotations that were done. You can see some follow-up or add new follow-ups about this customer. And it is also possible to take a deposit that will be used later. For example, if it's a corporate customer. When you're done, you can click on OK, or you can apply. OK will save the details you just entered and close this window. Apply will save it, but you will remain on this window. I will just close this window and cancel the modifications. In the system, it's possible to delete a customer. But if you delete a customer from which we already have some transaction, there are some mechanisms in the software that will check and ensure that this customer won't be deleted if it's already in use somewhere else, like for a renewal. You can always print some details about your customer. You can merge two customers together. You can send some statement to that specific customer. This will be covered on the third training about the accounting. And you can close some window, that window. It's even possible to get some legend. For example, the blue lines are open account that are mostly corporate customers. The red line means that the customer are blocked, meaning that maybe there is still some receivable. Or it could be disabled for the customer in which you set them as being inactive. In Complus, it's possible to do what we call a quick sell. By the way, quick sell, you need to click this menu, quick sell. Basically, a quick sell will be without assigning a customer, meaning that you won't keep trace of a transaction you did with some customers. But the advantages is that it's going to be fast. You just need to enter the products in the transaction, and when you're done, click on Invoice the order.